Late bloomers win in the end. That is the idea I am selling you today. And I want you to stick with me. It's going to be a short and snappy episode based on my own experience and the story of an oak tree and some actual real live data. Now, when you hear the term late bloomer, probably a lot of different things come to mind. It's a term that I feel like I was introduced to probably in adolescence. I feel like we hear it when it comes to puberty. That's a late bloomer, somebody that hits their stride a little bit later in life. And it generally has a negative connotation. But I've been thinking about this term a lot lately, like a lot because I am really resonating with it. And when I told Ava, my oldest daughter, that I'm identifying as a late bloomer, she kind of laughed in my face. She was like, Mom, you were married at 22. You had me at 28. Like, that's not a late bloomer. And okay, true. Maybe in that sense, I'm not a late bloomer. But I do feel like a late bloomer in a lot of ways in my life. And I would bet that most of us, if we're optimistic about our life, if we still have hopes and dreams for our life, relate to this. I think most of us feel like we still haven't hit our peak. I hope we feel that way. If we have this sense of purpose and meaning that we are still trying to achieve. And I think that's something that you won't ever, I hope you won't ever hit that pinnacle. I think that's the meaning of life. But you don't want to peak early, right? I tell my kids that all the time. Like, you don't want to peak in high school. Don't peak in high school. Don't peak in college. Like, life is one constant evolution. And so being a late bloomer, blooming late in life is actually the way to win. So if you followed me on social media or if you're on my email list, I've talked about this a little bit. I went back to ballet class and I've shared a lot about this on social media for a few different reasons, and that's its own episode. So I'm not going to go too deep into that. But it's multi-layered why I went back to ballet. One of the reasons is to reclaim a narrative that I feel like I wasn't happy with, I wasn't proud of, because my ballet journey as a teenager ended abruptly in a way that I didn't like. Another reason, though, was to do something for me and to get better at something that I feel like I never really peaked at, to bloom later, to continue to grow. Is it embarrassing to be a 47-year-old woman back in ballet class? The act of being in ballet class isn't necessarily embarrassing, but sharing it on social media sure as hell is. But so why, you would say, why are you doing it? Because it's also empowering, because it's also, to be honest, a great marketing tool. It's also growing my account, connecting me with a lot of people. It's also liberating to kind of be seen trying. And I'm blooming late. I feel like I've been at a crossroads in my brand. I mean, honestly, even in this podcast, we rebranded back just in April of 2026 because we still felt like we quite hadn't hit our stride. Blooming late. I feel like there's still big things waiting for me that I have not yet realized. And I was born in 1978. I'm a late Gen X, not quite millennial. And I say that because if you grew up around the same time as I did, I think you can understand the feeling of being raised in an age where You were taught that you will have one purpose in life. Like you will find your career and you will grow that in that career forever. And you will bloom early, essentially, right? You're going to find the career, you're going to decide what you're going to be. And then, yeah, maybe you'll grow and you'll get promoted, but like success will come early. And I feel like I waited and waited and waited to be like, here's my thing. Yes, I feel so fulfilled and excited by this thing. And I just never really found it. And while right now I feel like I'm in the area of my thing, I still don't feel like I found it. And I'm starting to accept the idea that I don't know if I ever will, but that's kind of the point. That's kind of a good thing as long as I have satisfaction and purpose in my day to day and I'm doing things to grow and to evolve and to flourish in my day to day. There's not one mountaintop that I'm trying to reach. It's just a constant evolution. It's a constant blooming, if you will. We're living in this world where youth has always been rewarded. 30 under 30 lists, 40 under 40 lists, peak performance in athletics, in beauty, in tech, in many industries is rewarded to people at a young age. And I am so impressed and in awe of people that have success early on. So this is not in any way to diminish any of that. Go on with your bad self, like amazing. And what I do know is that when we buy into success comes early, and once you've hit 40, 45, if you haven't hit that level of success, well, it's just not going to come to you. You see people give up. And I think that's total and utter bullshit, to be frank. There's so much opportunity. And when you think of everything that we've amassed, the knowledge, the skills, the empathy, the understanding people, the life, this is when we should be peaking. This is when we should be blooming late. So it's shifting our mindset to late bloomers are actually winners. Blooming late is the way to win. I really, truly believe it can change everything. We're seeing this happen in the health space as like perimenopause and menopause becomes this hot topic, and it might seem like soundbitey, and it is, but what's really happening is the narrative is shifting and women are realizing like, oh, my life is not over when I hit this stage. I actually can live another 20, 30, 40 vibrant years if I know how to take care of my body and I get the right tools to help me with my body. And so I think to piggyback on that, we can do that in career, in entrepreneurship, in brand, in whatever it is we are growing. And so I see this in myself, in putting myself out there, in being seen trying, and in younger people watching and saying, wow, that's cool, that's empowering. In other people, my same age, saying, I've wanted to go back to something too. I've wanted to try something. I've wanted to reinvent myself, and you're inspiring me to do the same. And it's time we stop letting age and the idea that you peak at a certain age be our excuse. So we can look to nature. I love an analogy, and my business is named Acorn. And when I think of why did I name my business Acorn, sure, it had a snappy, ACORN to fit. I was also really inspired by the quote from Tiny Acorns, Mighty Oaks Grow. To think of that, from Tiny Acorns, Mighty Oaks Grow, everything that you need inside of you, whether that's your business, your brand, or you as your person, comes from the essence of you, that tiny acorn that's been there all along. But also, when we look at the life cycle of an oak, it really mirrors the life cycle of a human. So an acorn falls to the ground, right? And it roots and it sprouts. And for years, and I mean years, not much happens that you notice. And that's like us, right? We're kids, we're growing, developing. Now, yeah, stuff happens that you notice, but we shouldn't have to be producing at this young age. Like our society teaches us that we need to have these awards and accolades, and our kids, need to amass all this scholarship money. I mean, I've fallen into it too as a parent. That's not the way this should be. We should just be learning and growing and developing and enriching ourselves. And then when we look at the acorn and the oak tree doesn't actually start growing and producing its own acorns until anywhere between years 20 and 50. So it's so different for everybody. And that's like us as humans. Some people will peak early. Some people will start that business at age 18 and it's like a crazy success right out of the gates. Other people, it's not going to happen until they're 49. One is not better than the other. But when we buy into the narrative that it has to happen early, we give up. And that is a limiting narrative that stops so many people from hitting their God-given potential. So when you think about, again, that oak tree, 2 decades minimum, sometimes closer to 5 decades before a tree makes a single acorn, the thing that it's going to make to produce other things to exist in its, like, to create legacy, essentially. So peak acorn production, when we look at the oak tree, though, so the years where the oak tree is doing the most important work happens between years 50 and 80. 50 and 80. What if we started looking at humans like that? Now, yes, that would mean we need to take really good care of our physical bodies. And we can. There are a lot of things we can do to do that. And that's not what this episode is about. But I do have some good episodes that can help you with that. But right now, I'm talking about what we can do to enrich our mind and our soul to fulfill purpose. So if we took good care of our physical bodies, what would we be able to do then with our life? To have that peak acorn production, like an oak tree, between years 50 and 80. The tree doesn't stop once it produces 1 or 2. It hits its peak, its prime. The best years happen then. And I believe that is possible for many of us. The reason it doesn't is because of the narrative that society has fed us. 30 under 30 list, 40 under 40 list. Once you've hit 45, if you haven't figured out what you want to do with your life, why keep trying? You're getting old. You might as well give up. Oh, my eyes aren't as good as they used to be. Oh, my joints are aching. We feed ourselves these narratives and then we believe them. I'm not going to lie. I feel physically better than I ever have. And I'm physically older than I've ever been. Because I don't buy into the narrative, and you don't have to either. Also because I'm doing things to help myself. Now, this is like a fun little example I'm giving you. And yeah, okay, Krista, nice analogy, nice metaphor, but there is data to back it up. I geeked out over this study that came from the University of Western Australia, and it looked at something called psychological functioning, emotional stability, decision-making, moral reasoning. All of this is your ability to navigate complicated situations with wisdom instead of instinct. They looked at, when does this peak for a person? What do you think? Take a guess. It's not under 30. It's not under 40. It is between the ages of 55 and 60. Between the ages of 55 and 60, your psychological functioning peaks. Now, that's not just a buzzword. The psychological functioning is arguably some of the most important skills you need as a human. Your emotional stability, your decision making, your moral reasoning, these things that you can bring to the table in whatever industry career that you're doing, it peaks when you're between ages 55 and 60. Lines up really nicely with that oak tree. I'd call that late blooming, based on what we've been taught is a late bloomer. And that's not a coincidence. This is really vital information. But again, we all agreed to this story that like we have this shelf life, that if, you haven't hit it by a certain age, it's kind of it. Meanwhile, there's a lot of people proving this wrong. If we want to see examples of people doing it differently, we don't have to look that very far. I mean, iconic example is Vera Wang. You've probably heard this before, but I love her story because she wanted to make it. Well, first of all, she was a figure skater. She was trying to make it in the Olympics, devoted her whole life to that, didn't make it, and then ended up working in the magazine industry, fashion magazine, got obsessed with fashion, and worked her way up there. And then at age 40, she was a late bloomer personally, got married, was looking for a wedding dress, couldn't find anything she liked, and decided, you know what, I'm going to try to design my own. Designed her own wedding dress. The rest is history. She's Vera Wang. 40 years old, she designed her first wedding dress. It was her own. Julia Child. She didn't publish her first cookbook until she was 49. Grandma Moses, I don't know if you've heard of her, but we read The Night Before Christmas every year. It's this, you know what The Night Before Christmas is, but we have an old version of this storybook, The Night Before Christmas. It was illustrated by a woman named Grandma Moses. She didn't start illustrating her first book until she was 72. Judge Judy, she didn't make it on TV until she was 53. I mean, I could continue to list women for you. I could continue to list a lot of men too. There's examples everywhere we look, but we just don't hear about those because society likes to shine the light on younger people. But there's a lot of us older folks, and we got a lot to share. We have a lot of that psychological functioning. So let's shine the light on it. Let's be late bloomers. I think the 20 and 30-year-olds are the exception to the rule. I think we are the norm. I think that us 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, we are sitting on decades of experience, mastery, things we've tested, tried, learned, not through degrees, although we have those too, but like through the school of hard knocks. And we're just keeping it close to our chest because we're discounting it, because we don't think it's worth anything. While people half our age with a quarter of our experience are out there getting their bag, making videos on social media, getting 5, 6-figure brand deals for sharing experience that they don't even have. And good on them. Again, there's enough room for all of us. There's enough money for all of us, but we should be getting it too. And maybe brand deals aren't your thing. That's fine. Go get it wherever you want it, but it is there for the taking. We just have to lean in to being a late bloomer and not being afraid to being seen trying. And I really think that's what it boils down to. Because what we can learn from these younger people is to put ourselves out there. And that's where we can take a big page out of their book. They are not afraid to be seen trying. They are throwing spaghetti at the wall left and right. You can watch it on social media. You can see it in so many different ways. So we have to learn to put ourselves out there and be seen trying. We have to let go of perfectionism. We have to let go of trying to fit ourselves into this neat little box. And we have to Just try. Just do it. We were taught, you earn the right to speak by putting in the time, by becoming qualified enough, by knowing enough. So we wait and we wait and we wait. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of waiting. I want to make my own opportunities. We deserve that. I deserve it. You deserve it too. Late bloomers unite. Are you with me? So we don't want to be leaving anything on the table. Acorns, oak trees, they don't apologize for taking decades to arrive. Yet sometimes we do, and that makes us shrink and hold ourselves back. We wait for a permission slip that's never coming, right? With people that have a fraction of the experience. And then the real cost isn't the missed opportunity, even though that is a pretty big cost. To me, the real cost is lying in bed at night being like, I should have done that. I should have sent that email. I should have made that call. I should have made that video. I should have said that thing. I should have spoken up in that meeting. I should have pitched myself for that promotion. I'll do it next time. And then next time comes and you don't do it because this is a muscle that you're either building or you're letting atrophy. But you have the ability to bloom late at any time. Don't put your head on the pillow at the end of the night wishing you would have done something. There is nothing like the pain of regret. You get one shot. And even worse, don't get to the end of your life and wish you would have done the thing. It's the number one regret of the dying. Unfulfilled dreams and wishes. So that's why I landed back in the ballet studio, honestly. I did not want that chapter to feel unfinished. And I'm pretty bad. It's not good in there. It is not good. It does not look nice. It's just, I forget what I'm doing half of the time. But I feel so excited. I'm so proud of myself. I actually watch my videos and I'm like, I know I don't look good, but I still like watching them because I'm like, yes, girl, you're doing it. You're doing the thing that you always wanted to do. And it feels really good. And that's what I want to remind you. It's really not about the outcome, although outcomes can be really exciting. But when you don't tie yourself to the outcome and you just allow yourself to bloom, it's really beautiful. So it's not about peaking. It's about blooming. It's about not telling yourself that you missed a window, that your peak years are behind you, and understanding it's an evolution and you're blooming along the way. So late bloomers win in the end. Do you buy it? I sure hope you do, because your life deserves that richness and fullness from buying in to that idea. Be back here next week.